overwhelmingly complex equation a Reddit user and I derived. Holy barnyard animal responsible for producing worldwide lactose. This is ridiculously intense. Anyways, calculating this gives us our number of total possible guesses for one round of Wheel of Fortune. Anytime there was writing or text, I paused and wrote it down as a clue. And you won't believe it, but the film uses random text as background filler.
He chooses an obese slapstick panda to teach you to inner peace. I ripped the sling off and connected weights to it to discover its mathematical properties. I believe that this old bag was the reason for Tai Lung. Using their measurements we can find his volume, and using his bird density we can find his mass, and using his mass we can find the force he hits the pipe with. So this bird is the size of most birds' size, obviously. Until the next meeting occasion with you fellow YouTube users, I'm the Theorizer. I'll decode some movies because it's my duty. Haha, I said duty. After some research, I discovered that they were dropped from over 2,000 feet. Before I get too in-depth about the devastating repercussions of whacking your friend at 25 kilometers an hour with a 7-pound metal crowbar, it's very unrewarding to find an adult creature wearing a diaper, just to tell you you've made a mistake.
Give me lots of ideas on Twitter and in the comments section, and I might even give you a shout out if you give me a good enough idea.
But it was at the expense of Vicky. Besides, they thought Syndrome had it all under control. They put all of the people at risk. Dumb government. I'm the Theorizer. Somewhere over the rainbow, Dorothy got KO'd by a window. The reason I don't believe she actually is a reincarnation of Coral.
America for the win. Yet, my hunger turned obsession for massive numbers hasn't yet been quenched, so I stopped with houses. I present to you the Walmart Supercenter, providing your great value needs since 1962, because if you save money, you surely live better. This unnecessarily complicated behemoth of a store, oddly large pipes fit for a fatty, and would require 94.46 million balloons. Stop. Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and my humor is about as real as the imaginary number. Only math-oriented people will get that joke. Is that Alice is in a midlife crisis and is being driven to insanity. Make it rain piping hot pepper pie in a pink perishable pot. But think of Insectosaurus like this. His last words were, "I love Kung Fu." And Poe's experience from there is all he's dreamed of. He becomes a Kung Fu master, meets the Five, and most importantly, doesn't have to sell foreign food for his crazy merchant goose dad.
So how much does the Krusty Krab make a year? And of course I'm referring to the restaurant in total. I'm not calling Mr. Krabs Krusty, although he is.
Microscopic mastermind is even more horrifically hardcore than we previously proposed. Alliteration is the best. Bowser, Bowser, Bowser. Lay off the Twinkies. 21,145 pounds. And pixel length analyzing with that ruler on screen method I love using. But I did pop it into my calculator and received a very, and I mean very, small volume. Like, there was 5 zeros before the actual number. Jeez, turtles, why you so tiny? But plasma. He is composed of sheer electricity and superheated gas. Physics involving the two gets so ridiculous it's currently beyond my fathoming. Get it? Current? We're dealing with electricity? Okay, I apologize for my ponderfully stupid electromagnetism zingers, but I must say, they are pretty electrifying. I can't resist. Let me conduct something else. What is wrong with me today?
Hey, brother. That's just a theory.
I'm cringing too hard. Please, remember me for my over-the-top idiocy. Anyways, oh great, now I've completely lost my flow. Oh, my stupidity is shocking. This pun thing has gone in a full circuit, but I'm in charge. I'm powerful. So let's put an end to these punny jokes. Yes, we've all seen Pixar's Up. I mean, who doesn't like a balloon-powered bungalow? Me, I hate the physics of this film, so let's get bigger. I present to you the house of the currently richest man on the earth, Bill Gates. This house's name is, Xanadu. His Washington home, or I guess, his country club with a population of a few. So now we've got Hook and Pinocchio out of the way, and oh my god, the mess. Devastated that the Queen metaphorically and unwittingly put a compound fracture in his so-called mother's plan, he alters his plan, but the all-too bubbly psychopath dies in a stupid fashion, leaving him alone to reveal his true plans and dominate the kingdom with full-on delusion inherited from you-know-who. And because people clearly want this film to be theorized on, I suppose I should try it. Think of it like this. If you have a grapefruit or something and you hold it in the air, it has a lot of potential energy. It can create lots of movement if you just drop it. And when you do, all of that potential ends up being converted into that movement, that kinetic energy, until it lands having used up all of the kinetic. That wasn't so hard. Or was it? So now it's just a matter of pulling out my busted and rusted, yet subsequently trusted, solar-powered calculating device. I was ready to pop it into my Texas Instruments TI-30X2S new and blue solar-powered calculating machine fit for the gods. Okay, not really. No theory is sponsored, but if it were, I'd probably act like that. So now that we've received our turtle density, we must throw it into Bowser's equation. Apparently tested no burn on wood at Keem Lumber, a lumber company.
Pretty underwhelming conclusion. Not really though, as it is a legendary revelation that will forever change nothing.
If Link just gave up his mission, could he just strut out of the temple with this thing and pawn it off for millions of dollars? Yes, actually.
We know the ship's original destination was for an African wildlife preserve until the penguins hijacked the freighter and committed manslaughter. Their psychotic intentions of taking the ship to Antarctica resulted in an illegally forced U-turn, and the ship's exaggerated turnaround sent the main gang flipping off the edge. That can mean that the penguins either crash-landed in Tanzania or Kenya to get a view of the mountain like that. That's pretty far. It's doubtful that slingshotting a plane into a jungle and then lifting it in the way that they did would work. They'd have crashed. Once again, the preposterous penguins disturbed graves, natural habitats, and animals. Now, I did the single most tedious thing anyone could have ever done. I lined up all of the references and counted all the ones on the map. It took hours, but my delusional determination got the better of me.
Alright, enough said. Whirlwind? More like superhero power containment device.
However, this is one of the first topics I had ever analyzed.
Using some algebra to rearrange and solve for velocity, blammo! We have the spinning wind speed. And it is... Wait for part 2. Until next time... Oh, dang it. April Fool's was 2 weeks ago. Anyways, it's 410 meters per second.
Obviously, this was an obvious plot hole in the movie. DreamWorks, your logic errors are in full swing right here. But intellectual chirrups aside,
about Roz, actually. Yes, the sluggish CEO of the CDA. I want to finally figure out what exactly the CDA does. Well, I hear you informally verbalizing, they child detect. We need to assume Next makes everything slightly chilling. He brings in a box of candy bars to the Salted Peanuts factory, which ultimately leads to Veruca's victory. Hey, see what I did there? Salted? Okay, I apologize for my horrible contribution to society, but... Holy crap, I am crazy. A mad genius, perhaps, and are there to serve the aquatic albino Lorax. So, they create another dimension, no biggie, then hand it over to a largemouth bass. Makes sense. The world of the Ocean King was a domain created and granted to this fantastic flubberflop by the Golden Goddesses. You know, I flat out apologize for the ridiculousness that is this tree. I can explain it in no other way though, so let's hop right back in. She was taken in by the 3 Witches of Oz, East, North, and Glinda. I've had lots of commenters say that I talk rather fast and have poor diction, but oh well, and the pressure would crush him to death. Lovely DreamWorks, you've struck again with your on-point physics. You must certainly have physicists working on your animating team, but I'll almost guarantee not biologists, because this lovely little character you've invented would die. In a briefly unbrief brief summarization. But I hear you saying, Mr. Theorizer, what about his grave?
We have one fat froggy on our hands. Holy cow, that produces chocolate milk. That's insane. Holy guacamole and chips for dips.
If you got $1 million for every time I said identical, you'd be a millionaire. Okay, I suppose that's a stupid comparison, but nonetheless, they're identical. His father's successor. Feel that? Your perception of reality just blew apart into trillions of subatomic pieces. But it all fell apart when fame hit them like a freight train. Well, that was a bomb I just dropped. Surely many have considered this though, right? The timing for this is fitting, but not fitting like the size of your clothing, more like the fitting of skinny jeans. It works, but it feels a little uncomfortable, unless you're this guy who seems a little too comfortable. But the only jeans we'll be dealing with today are of the Emma kind. And so I will be frank with y'all. Oops, sorry, I intentionally said y'all again. The genetics here match up, but you guys hate it when I deal with genes. So the only genes we'll be dealing with today are of the Emma kind. Irregardless of my deoxyribonucleic puns of repetition, but I refuse to back out of this like I have other topics. I'm far too into this one now. It's driving me nutty. Pixar has broken me. And that couldn't be more perfect. It's possible that it can be Bill Anderson, but timing isn't evidence, it's convenience. And that would be, well, just conniving and deviant of him. The gals would probably kill Bill. Anyways, the real mystery of this show is how this guy's hair is so white. Dear Netflix, hashtag Stranger Things just got stranger. Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and this series unsettles me so hard that I accidentally chucked my laptop at the wall when watching the finale. Stranger Things really is strange. No. It's stranger than strange. I suppose that's why they call it Stranger. How abnormally strange of them. But anyways, this series has left so many unanswered questions that it isn't funny. It's in fact dramatically strange. This sociopath loves torturing elementary conniving bandits to satisfy his infinitely voluminous thirst for death. Like, honestly, who doesn't like them? Dehydrated pufferfish, maybe. Using the Ween displacement formula, enough to crush his skull, rip open his spine, and bend his back so far over he'd be a permanently frozen contortionist.